Hi everybody, it's Kayjay of Metro Hobbies, Toys and Games, and welcome to the very first Toy Box Thursday. Toy Box Thursday is the day that I'm going to review either a game or a toy, so a board game, some other type of game, and I'm going to give it a rating out of 10. If I say something's Toy Box worthy, I'm saying it's a 6+. If I'm saying something's Toy Box Gold, I'm saying it's an 8+. The idea behind this is that these are new toys and games, and not many people have tried them, and the best way to understand how these toys work or these games work is actually watch it being played or having a demonstration done. Now you may not be able to get into the store, so this is hopefully making it more convenient for you. If you do have an opportunity to get into the store, I'm going to make these games and toys available for 4 weeks after this video is aired, so you can come in on a weekend, that's to the Box Hill store, and have a demonstration, have a look at the components, see how the toy works depending on what I've reviewed that period. And on top of that, I'm going to give you a 10% discount for those very specific game or toys. So obviously worth coming in store to have a look. Now, without further ado, I'm going to start with the very first Toy Box Thursday review. I'm going to start with a board game. I'm starting with Gravity Superstar. Gravity Superstar is brought to us by Sit Down Publisher. Sit Down brought us Magic Maze, which was a family game, came out in 2017, was extremely popular, so you may have heard of it. Don't worry if you haven't. Gravity Superstar is set in a planet that has a little bit different gravity. It attracts precious stars, and the superstars' aim, which are these little characters here, their aim is to collect as many stars as they can, but they also have to compete with other superstars trying to steal their stars and or try and steal other stars. It has most interesting thing about this is actually the way it plays. It's a grid management game, and it also has a little bit of light programming, but the best way to show you is actually to take a look at the components and see how it plays. So let's take a look inside. Okay, so here it is. This is the setup for a 2-player of Gravity Superstar. I'll just draw attention to, so each player gets a character. On their character mat, they have little locations of the colour stars. This is where they're going to collect their stars. So the aim of the game is to take your meeple or your pawn, move it at the board according to the rules, obviously, in order to collect the most stars, and those stars award you points. The colours are irrelevant in terms of order. Pink is not worth more points than white, for example, but if you had 2 of a colour, so if you had 2 green, you would actually get 3 points opposed to 2, and it's always the pairs. So if you had 3 of a kind, that wouldn't get you any more points except for the pair that was already there, so you'd end up with 4 points, but if you had 4 of a kind, then you'd have 6 points. Okay, so a little bit of arithmetic involved. So they're the little character boards. There's a blue one, orange one, also got a pink, white, yellow and green one to choose from. So obviously you get sort of a little bit of role play involved there. The pieces themselves are quite nice, quite good quality actually. The meeples in this game are actually unique in the way that they move and are positioned on the board. So normally you would stand a meeple or pawn up on the board. In this case, it's actually you place them on their side. So the best way to do this is give you an example. So the way the game would actually start is that you have a starting, this tells you what door is open. So you put it on the open door, the starting player, which is determined by this card here, which is randomly chosen actually. We don't really need that other than to tell us who started. First player places in the same position as the door, so their feet are standing on the platform as if they came through the door. The token for the open door actually moves clockwise to the next door. Now that matters if you have more than 2 people playing. I'll get back to that in a minute. So what I wanted to show you is that the way these little meeples move is that they move in the direction. The direction is dependent on the orientation of the meeple. So in this location we have left is in this direction, down is this way, right and up. But you have action cards, you have simple action cards, which is a little bit like the back of the card, and then you have some special moves. So one of the special moves is you can rotate, and on your turn you'll actually choose one of these actions. Sorry about that, you'll choose one of these actions. So I chose rotate, for example. That would allow me to rotate up to 180 degrees. So I'm going to only rotate 90 degrees. Now these meeples, now that it's not standing on a platform anymore, it'll just fall. and as it falls it collects the star. So I've now collected the yellow. I keep going. This is a continuous board, so you have to hold in your mind that this board will actually continue all the way to the other side until you hit a platform. So your meeple takes a move that'll move you about 1 or 2 steps. In this case it just rotated you, and then you will just fall until you hit the next platform. So in that one, 2 star was collected. In this board here you have, I'll show you up close actually. So here's the main board, and you can see that there's these little pink circles with a star in the middle, and there's also these other little stars. Initially they just tell you where to place the stars, but when you go over them, if you go over one of the pink circles, you actually get to collect a replay token. That it can either be used as a point at the end of the game, or you can use it to have one more turn. So you can only have up to 2 actions in at a time. So I could choose to put that back in reserve like that, and I could have another turn. So maybe this time I want to do what is called, so these are my special moves. I could either do a simple move and just move left or right, which I think I will do. And then the advantage of doing a simple move is that the other players don't know which one I choose. So I can place down the simple move as such, and my opponents won't know what special moves I have left. They're only going to see that I've got simple moves. So I could choose to take the simple move to the right 1 step, and then I'll just fall until I hit the platform. Now I have 2 yellow. So as I said before, that's 3 points there. And then it's the next player's turn. And you continue on like this. Once you've exhausted all of your 5 cards, everybody gets 5 cards, you then can pick up your cards to play them again, and that would be a free turn. If you wanted to pick up your cards to play them again without using all 5 cards, you would need to spend a turn to do that. The other thing about this game is that, so we got a couple of players on the board, so I'll just put this, say this person was here. Actually, to show this properly, I'm going to have to put them a little bit easily positioned. So I put this player was here. So the orange player could choose to make this move. Okay, so this is a high jump move. So this tells us they can go up and to the side, up to the side, and then they fall until they hit a platform. Now, if they hit another player, that player is now ejected from the game. So they're on to their own reserve placement. And that gives the orange player the ability to steal some stars. So let's say this player had a green star and a yellow star and a pink star. So this player has 2 yellow and only 1 pink. It's more advantageous to take the pink because that would give 2 extra points, opposed to taking the yellow would only give 1 extra point. So player's going to choose to take the pink, and now that's quite a nice little tactical move there. So the special moves that you have that high jump move I just did. You have a fall through the platform move, which is quite nice. So that would just fall through and then continue until the next platform, which happens to be the same one in this case. So that would be that move. This one you get to choose whichever one you want. So let's say I wanted to rotate again up to 180 degrees, and then I just fall until I hit a platform, and then I collect another star. Obviously collecting stars is the point of this game, and it's how you'll score points at the end. This one you get to move 2 steps over instead of just the 1, which is the simple move. So that'd be 1, 2, and then fall. Okay, and then maybe I want to use the rotation again. So this time 180 degrees, and I'm going to fall. And as I said, this ball wraps around. So this playmat is not finishing at the edges. It keeps going, so that'll go on a grid, continuing on, falling this way, and there ends up here. And now I've got 3, 3, 9, 10 points from those types of moves, and then I can just collect up the cards again. Now this game continues for a 2-player until you have only 4 stars left on the board. The stars are placed out randomly, so you actually get a nice little bag with all the stars inside. So it's when you start the setup of the game, you actually place them out randomly. So the number of each color is going to be different every single game. The other nice thing about this is these modular boards. I'll bring out a couple. You have several. There's a few more. They're double-sided. They're all different. the placement of the stars are different. So this is where you place a star, but after that they don't mean anything else. These you place a star, but once you go over them again, you'll always get a replay token, replay being points, as well as being able to have 2 turns in 1 action. So excellent scalability. But this would be, you'd set it up something like that for a 4-player. For a 3-player, you would set it up like this. You always need to set it up symmetrically because of the fact that the board wraps around. So that's why I've done it a line for 3 and I did it in the quad for 4. And that's again because of the way the plays uniquely move, which actually I kind of really like. So that's the basic steps. You come onto the board through the doors. You can be ejected. If you get ejected, you're going to have to use a turn to come back. Every time a player comes through one of the doors, the new open door is the next one. So the location in which you start may be different, especially if you're playing with more than 2 players. And essentially, once the game ends, you count up the stars that you have and any additional bonus points. So, for example, that one would be 3 lots instead of the normal 2. And then if you have a stack of replay tokens that maybe you collected and not spent, then you get a point for each one of those as well. So it's advantageous to not spend them. The cards, good quality actually. I think they stand the test of time. The pieces themselves are good quality. The playmats are okay quality. I think that they would wear a little bit, but they're very nice looking. So I'm quite happy with them. And what I quite like about this is these are setting up a plan of how you want your character to move. So because of the way you've moved your character previously or your superstar previously will affect what kind of moves you can do in the future, especially this one here. You do have some planning involved and some hand management in terms of your cards involved. So there's a couple of different game mechanisms going on, which is quite fun. It's relatively simple to start, but to master it, obviously that takes a little bit of time, who's going to be the better player or not. So come back, give you my thoughts on this one. Hopefully that gives you a bit of an overview. It wasn't a full run through. But if you have any questions, I'm happy to accept comments and try and answer them for you in the comments. And I'm happy to for you to come in store and have a look at it for yourself. So like I said before, that you can come in on the weekend for the next 4 weeks to test this game yourself, have a look at the components, see if it's something that's either for you or your child, because at the end of the day, we're all unique. Okay, so that was Gravity Superstar. There's your little box again. What do I think? I think that it has some original moves, quite like the way that the meeples move. I like that they were flat down. I like that you need to move the map inside your head dependent on the meeples location, not yours. So this is quite a good skill to be able to have. Obviously, we use this when having to navigate the path of a plane. So if you are remotely navigating the path of a plane, you need to be able to understand the position of the plane relative to the plane and not relative to yourself. So it's a useful skill, especially in aviation, in that example. It is useful in other skills as well to sort of understand how things will affect other objects, not just how things affect yourself. And I'm quite a big fan of the quality of the pieces. I think they're good quality. The only thing that I'm not that I don't think is amazing would be, I like what they look like, I like what the boards look like, I like how they feel. I do think they will receive some wear on them, but the cards themselves are excellent quality. You could put these in sleeves if you wanted to. It's a simple game to learn. But it does provide a challenge, and that's important. So people don't want to sit down, especially children don't want to sit down for a while to try and learn the game. They want to be able to pick it up quickly, but they do want to be challenged, and that challenge is important for replayability. The fact that it scales well, so easily scales from 1 to then having 3 modular boards, 4, 5, 6 players. They have a choice of player. So get to have a sort of a character or a persona that they're playing, so there's a little creativity in it. This is suitable for 7+ ages. Obviously you know your child better than I do, so obviously go by what they're capable of doing. 7 is the recommended age group. Probably has around about a 25-minute play time, maybe not the first time they play. There's some planning involved, some response involved, and there's navigation, so the grid management, hand management. I think this is comparable to Magic Maze. I liked Magic Maze. I also equally like Gravity Superstar. I think this is definitely toy box worthy. And as I said before, we're going to have this available in store for 4 weeks after this video airs, for you to be able to come in and test it for yourself, have a look at the components, have a look at how it plays, and do a demonstration for you in store. So that's the Box Hill store. That's 444 Station Street, Melbourne, and that's on the weekends that I'll be able to do that for you, so I'll have my own copy. I bought the copy, obviously. And we're also running that 4-week special, so there's a 10% special on that game running from 4 weeks from the airing of this video. And so, Toy Box worthy, definitely. This is the first Toy Box Thursday review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do, please click subscribe and like, as all YouTube videos. That helps us gain, if there's an interest, and we can keep doing these videos. Hope to see you next week on the next Toy Box Thursday review, depending what we might review. And that's all for me. So, until next time.